If you've been following the news for the last 24 hours, you'll notice that J.K. Rowling has been in the headliners once again, as well as Harry Potter, as well as Warner Brothers and Max. So if you remember back in April, there was announced that there'd be a 10-year Harry Potter show, and it would be basically one season per book is what we're assuming. But the biggest news was that J.K. Rowling was heavily involved with it, and even being executive producer. Well, we have more news on that from January 19th of this year, 2024. So first things first, January 19th, discussing film, which funny enough, they muted their entire comments and threads, so it's not exactly discussing now, is it? However, I digress. Discussing film has gone on and said, known transphobe J.K. Rowling is now reported to be an active exec producer on the Harry Potter series, where she will be involved in the show's decision-making. Source, Deadline. And they go on and continue with trans information. Now the thing is, we already know that she's an executive producer. This was announced way back in the day, but for some reason it's making the rounds again. I don't really understand why this is news. It's really not. The funny thing is, I tweeted out saying, it sounds like Discussing Film is waiting for a lawsuit from J.K. Rowling. Good luck, lol. Because if you notice, J.K. Rowling's actually gone after people for slander. She's gone after the BBC of all people for slander and calling her transphobic in other terms. So it's not like she doesn't have FU money, and we know she does. She's got billions upon billions of dollars. She's worth more than the Queen of England back in the day. So then I found this random ass weirdo on my Twitter thread. Notice the pronouns in the bio, right? And all that. He says, funny thing is, you can't actually sue for something that's true, even if it is negative. And JK's transphobia is very well documented. But here I gotta, again, trying to explain logic to an inherently illogical TERF community. So then I said, yeah, you don't show receipts or proof. You're not explaining logic because you haven't done anything. LOL, bye. Then he goes on and says, hey, seeing what you have in your bio is all the reason to ignore what you have to say. You're just a grifter freak, but good luck with that. And I say, you still haven't given me any proof. You come here on my Twitter calling me names, and yet I have asked you for proof, and you haven't done it, but you call me freak. You're not very good at this. Do better. Which is true. Every time you ask for evidence of saying, where is she being transphobic? How is it transphobic for saying that women are different from men and that only women can have a menstrual cycle? It's mind-boggling, but here we are in 2024. And every time you confront these weirdos, that is the response you get. That you're a TERF, you're an idiot, you're illogical, you're stupid. It's like, alright, I'm asking you for evidence, show it to me. But it doesn't happen. So here's the latest article from Deadline that was released yesterday. So Harry Potter TV's series zeroes in on the premise as selected writers pitch their ideas to Max. In April, Warner Brothers Discovery revealed that a series based on the classic wizarding world would be coming into its streaming service, Max. Deadline understands that things in Potter World are now heating up with a marathon of pitches underway from writers vying for the right to adapt J.K. Rowling's 7 books. Martha Hillier, Kathleen Jordan, Tom Moran, Michael Leslie are among those who are presenting their vision to the streaming service, and Warner Brothers Television sources says. It's an interesting mix of Brits and Americans. We've heard that the group of writers were commissioned by Max to create pitches for a series reflecting their take on the IP. We hear the first round of pitch meetings happened in Los Angeles this week, and sources said that the top choices will go on next round in the UK. It is unclear how involved Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling, who lives in Edinburgh, Scotland, who has been with the process, but she is expected to be involved in the decision-making on the series which she executive produces. Deadline understands there may also be an opportunity for more than one of those writers to be involved, and that Max is open to the possibility of developing more than one idea based on Harry Potter. Sources did stress that the process is nascent stages. Reps from Max and WB-TV declined comment. And so there's little blurbs about each writer. So then it just goes on and on and on about other stuff. Rowling's Wizarding World spawned from her 7 best-selling Harry Potter books at 600 million copies worldwide, spans retail stores, theme parks, a global stage play, and 7.7 billion global grossing feature franchise, as well as the 1.8 billion grossing spin-off Fantastic Beasts, which unfortunately they don't seem to be finishing, but I would absolutely love if they turned that into a show and finished it that way. I think that would be the best move for it, but alas, I think it's dead. Now, I for one am not looking forward to this new show. One, I think the casting of all the actors in the original movies are going to be extremely hard to replace. Most people are like typecasting them, like this is going to be how Ron looks forever. I mean, you have Maggie Smith, Alan Rickman, all the amazing British actors of the day were in Harry Potter, and now it's very hard to replace them. I also do not look forward to the political and ideological agendas that they're going to shove in your face, because that is what happens with every IP nowadays, especially since it's 2024. And they're going to race swap one of the main characters, because you can't have 3 main characters that are good. It just doesn't work that way. All the villains will stay, white, but the rest of them will have to be changed. And for some reason, they'll try to represent a country that's not actually represented. And what I mean by that is, if you look up the stats for Scotland and England in the 1990s, it's predominantly white, and Harry Potter takes place in the 1990s. So I don't really know what they're going to do with that. I really want them to just keep everything as it should be, but you never know what's going to happen. Which leads me to my actual article that I wrote back in January 28th of 2022. So almost 2 years ago, I wrote this. And funny enough, it still applies. So let's just go through it together. It's been over a decade since the last Harry Potter film premiered back in 2011, and the last book came out 15 years ago in 2007, yet in 2022, it is still one of the most popular fandoms. Back in 2015, Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling announced that a new play, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, would open the following year in London, England. Soon after, the casting list was announced, and people were surprised that the actress playing Hermione Granger would be Noma Dumenswini, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce that, a black woman. Now, if Hermione had always been a black person, this wouldn't have been a problem to anyone, as she was an already established character. So this is Emma Watson, and this is Noma playing Hermione. Prior to the films even being in development, J.K. Rowling had drawn multiple sketches, see below for one example. So right here, I'm going to point it out to you guys. This is Neville Longbottom, that is Ron Weasley, that is Harry Potter, that is Hermione Granger, and this is Dean Thomas, formerly named Gary. She had changed his name pre-production in the book. If that makes sense to you, pre-production. It wasn't published yet. Dean Thomas is described as a black boy in the very first book in Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. J.K. Rowling purposely shades in Gary. You see, he's a lot darker than the rest of them to show that he is indeed black. Hermione is not shaded in at all and is the same shade as Neville, Ron, and Harry. The sketch was released worldwide and posted on our official website back in 2004. The site has since been revamped. In addition, J.K. Rowling has said in 1999 that she based Hermione loosely on her younger self, and that Emma Watson was the perfect Hermione because she was Hermione. Unless J.K. Rowling is now identified as a black woman, she refers to Hermione as being white. This proves that prior to the woke trend, Hermione was always white in J.K. Rowling's mind. So why this sudden change? In 2000, no one would have blinked an eye at a black Hermione. Some might have been a bit surprised and they didn't picture her as black, but within a week, no one would have cared. However, this didn't happen, and an overwhelming majority of the fans enjoyed Emma Watson as Hermione. Anyone can relate to her character regardless of their color or creed. Even that lazy coworker that you despise will have something in common with you. But for some strange reason, in today's entertainment, race, gender, and sexuality are the only features that make up a character. That is their sole identification. After 8 films of Emma Watson as Hermione Granger, it was shocking to see anyone else play Hermione, let alone someone of a completely different race. And now Rowling states that she never mentioned Hermione's skin color. She tweeted back in 2015 that Hermione had brown eyes, frizzy hair, and was very clever. However, she did in fact mention Hermione's skin color on several occasions. In today's society, everything is deemed racist, so it'd be hard to imagine that Rowling would have described a black woman looking very brown after summer vacation, as she described Hermione in Chapter 4 of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, and then again later on in Chapter 21 of the same novel, saying Hermione's white face was sticking out from behind a tree. Imagine the uproar of saying that a black woman's face had turned white, and why bother staying the shade of Hermione's skin if she was already described as black? The notion would be cancelled into oblivion. Furthermore, Rowling even said that Noma was chosen because she was the best actress for the job. That may very well be true. She could have been the best actress for the job, and no one's denying she's a fine actress. However, selecting a black actress as Hermione based on the performance in every play in Canada, US, and Australia seems a bit improbable considering the white people make up a higher percentage of the population in America. In 2020, white people made up 60% of the census. Not to mention that Ron and Hermione's daughter, Rose Weasley, is now also black, played by various black actresses across the globe. It seemed that this decision of changing Hermione's race was simply a public relations and diversity stunt. Below is a photo from Rose in the film Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows Part 2, and the play Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Rose's younger brother, Hugo Weasley, is not even in the play, and furthermore, he's never mentioned. So right here, this is Rose in Deathly Hallows Part 2 in the epilogue, and that's Rose now. You see the difference? Now, why is this such a big deal? Well, this seems to start a very popular trend, or rather encourage an already existing but quiet trend, removing white people from entertainment, race swapping, and gender swapping characters for the sake of diversity, even if the characters were famously established for over 10 years is quite popular now. At this point, Rowling is playing identity politics with beloved characters simply to appease the far left, whose voices are incredibly loud thanks to Twitter. Which, funny enough, now they're starting to leave Twitter and go to Reddit. Haha. For all those who cry, what does it matter if they change the race, gender, or sexuality of a well-known character? It shouldn't matter at all. If it didn't matter, why change it in the first place? Why does someone's race, gender, sexuality define or make a character so great? This trend is growing and doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon. Rowling's always mentioned the ethnicity of secondary characters such as Angelina Johnson, Lee Jordan, Kingsley Shacklebolt, Padman Pavarti Patel, and more. If people wanted a larger focus on minorities, why not focus on already existing and established characters? Dean Thomas was mentioned quite often in the book, sticking up for Harry Potter against Dolores Umbridge and Harry Potter and Order of the Phoenix. Well, it's like Harry said, isn't it? Said Dean. If we're going to be attacked, it won't be risk-free. He was so brave that he even came to fight at the Battle of Hogwarts in the last novel, Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows, without a wand, his only protection against Voldemort and his followers. In the film Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows Part 1, Dean is completely cut from Malfoy Manor, where he was imprisoned with Luna Lovegood, Ollivander, and Griphook the Goblin. Yet this was brushed aside to make way for more important scenes. Understandably so, as Dean wasn't a main character. However, what would happen if people paid more attention and gave some thought to existing characters? Why not include Dean Thomas in The Cursed Child? It could be that people do not believe that an established black character can be as popular as an established white character. Could this be why white characters are constantly being race swapped? And when the characters change to fit an agenda, is it called stunning and brave, even though it's just a cheap and lazy writing? I'm also not sure how people aren't offended by this racist trend. If you disagree with the race change in an existing character, at the very least, you're called a racist. People have known these characters for decades and loved them to pieces. Then out of nowhere, they are changed because it was more important than creating new and original characters for people to admire. It seems we've lost our way on what is actual storytelling and what is just blatantly poor creativity. I might disagree with Rowling's opinions on various topics, but she improved my reading skills, created a world for billions of children to escape to, and has saved many lives. She'll always have my respect, but on this take, I respectfully and strongly disagree with her virtue signaling. So remember how I said they race swapped Hermione just for the sake of it, and Hermione and Rose are always black in every single play? Even in Germany, they are now black. So even Harry Potter is now black. But in Tokyo, everyone's Asian because Tokyo, and they won't race swap anybody. So I think it's really weird how they're constantly race swapping in Europe and America and Australia, but in Tokyo, everybody is Asian. Now, I wrote down here, imagine casting Drew Barrymore as Oprah Winfrey. So here it is. It says it's only a play, and it seems that all illustrations of the characters in the new releases of the book stay true to the original descriptions, I should say. But holy, where are we going in society? Cursed Child shouldn't exist, and I will die on this hill since the day the script was published. The only reason I still have a little bit of faith in J.K. Rowling with her race swapping and all that was Fantastic Beasts. There was no agenda in those movies. Not one. In fact, if you watch the very last movie, you will see that both Albus and Aberforth are saving Ezra Miller's character, who is Aberforth's son. So it's very much a dad and uncle story, which you really do not find in Hollywood anymore. So I'm kind of hesitant. I just do not want this show to exist because it's just going to be surrounded by controversy. The far left are going to be shitting all over J.K. Rowling and calling her a transphobic when she's not. And the far right are going to be defending her for this one stance, but they're going to be hating everything else that she does. And they're going to help promote this show and, just like Hogwarts Legacy, overblow everything and not even worry about the actual gameplay or the plot of the story and anything to do with the actual video game. This was a whole marketing tactic, and this seems to be a giant marketing tactic that's currently going on for this new show. Anyway, these are my thoughts. Let's see if I've gotten a response yet from that weirdo. You misunderstand. I have a real life and I don't see you as being worthy to waste my time explaining anything to your grifter ass. Given the people you surround yourself with, you ain't worth my highly paid time. Sorry, you aren't worth it. So again, this person is constantly on Twitter, responding to me, tweeting at me, but this person, again, cannot and will not prove anything. And look at that. He, them, they. Pansexual. You look insanely normal. Oh gosh. This person also thinks that calls Rowling transphobe, drops trans charities and replies, refuse to elaborate, and closes comments is based. Ah yes, censorship is really based in 2024. Good gravy. So I know this video was a bit of a long one, however I really want to state my opinions here. I am with J.K. Rowling on the fact that women are women 100%. Am I with her with race swapping any of these characters? Absolutely not. I think if you're going to do this show, you do it properly and you elevate all existing characters that were mentioned in my article that I wrote 2 years ago. Well, these are my final thoughts, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.